Back when home ec was a thing, this was the first recipe that I brought home and made for my family. Let's make some monkey bread. Okay, peeling these is probably the most anxiety-driven thing that I do. One, two. All right, so you're just gonna lay these out on your cutting board. So we have 16 biscuits here out of those 2 packages. It should be just enough to fill our bump pan when we're ready to go. We're gonna chop each of these into quarters. And then we're gonna go ahead and separate them all out. All those flaky layers are gonna be so delicious inside of this monkey bread. So we're gonna smother them in a cinnamon, sugar, and butter mixture. We're gonna add some pecans for some crunch. And then that cinnamon sugar mixture creates this beautiful caramel drizzle over the top. It's quite the presentation as well. So if you were doing something for a brunch or even like a holiday morning, like a Christmas morning or Easter morning, these would be perfect. Because once you do the prep work, you stick them in the oven and they're all done. About 30 minutes. So because these are biscuits, they've got their own layers in them. Try not to pull those layers apart. You still want to keep, you know, big chunks of biscuits, but you do want to make sure they're all separated. So when we get that butter mixture, it's all ready to go. Okay, so from here, we're going to take these pieces of biscuits and we're going to put them into a Ziploc bag and shake them up with some cinnamon sugar. You could do this in a bowl, but I like to throw things away. To this bag, we're gonna go ahead and add 1 cup of granulated sugar and then 2 teaspoons of cinnamon and 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. If you wanted to, you could also use pumpkin pie spice in lieu of all of this, or even add additional spices if you want. Cardamom, clove, whatever you like. Okay, we're gonna actually trap some air in this bag. We don't want it to be no air, so I'm gonna keep some air in so it's nice and fluffy, and then we're gonna shake. All right, these are all shaken up. It looks like wet sand at this point, like wet sand dough balls. Make sure each one of them is individual inside of this bag and none of them are stuck in a big clump together. If they are, just break them apart and shake it up one more time. Set these aside. Now we're gonna grab our bump pan. To make sure that our monkey bread plops out of this beautifully, we're gonna butter this dish really well. Even though it's non-stick, we still need to put butter on the inside. I always have a piece of extra wax paper or parchment lying around from when I overestimate how large my pans are. So I've just got a piece of scratch wax paper right here. And then we're gonna put some softened butter on it and rub it all in those nooks and crannies of this bun pan. If you didn't have a piece of wax paper, another super secret trick is just to use the paper that the stick of butter comes in. Just leave a little butter in that stick of paper and then you're all set. Just like that. Now that we have this all buttered and ready to go, we're gonna grab those pieces of biscuits and start layering them into this pan. So we don't wanna dump this whole thing in because there's a ton of sugar left on the bottom that we're actually gonna use for our caramel drizzle. So we do have to be a little bit careful when we take them out. Just go ahead and start layering them. We're gonna do 1 even layer and then we're gonna do a 2nd layer over the top. Looks good. Okay, set those aside and we're gonna grab our pecans. There's about a cup here. If you wanted to skip out on the nuts completely, you could, or if you wanted to substitute for walnuts or almonds, that'd be great also. I've also seen it done with raisins. My kids don't like raisins, so we skip those. Okay, and I'm gonna use almost all of it. I'm gonna save a few for the top of it when we flip it over. Okay, now we're gonna put the 2nd layer of these biscuits over the top. All right, these are all layered up. We have about 1/2 cup of our cinnamon sugar left over from this bag, which is gonna go into our caramel mixture. No waste here. Let's make that next. To make this super simple caramel mixture, you're gonna put 2 sticks of butter, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, and the rest of that cinnamon sugar mixture straight into the pot over medium heat. You're gonna stir this together just until that butter is nicely melted and that sugar is no longer sandy. You don't wanna bring it to a full boil. You just wanna make sure that it's completely dissolved. Once that's done, you're all set. All right, we've gone ahead and melted our butter and our sugar together. It smells delicious. And we're gonna go ahead and pour this over the top. Nice and slow. Make sure you try to get every spot. There we go. Okay, and with just a little spatula, you're just gonna press them down to make sure that the butter covered all of these pieces, just like that. So yummy. Okay, this is gonna go in the oven at 350 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes. Make sure you're using your nose. If it smells like it's done, it's probably done. Okay, the monkey bread's all done. It's been cooking for about 30 minutes. We've let it rest for about 5 just to let the caramel harden a teeny bit. We're gonna go ahead and put a plate over the top and flip it over. Moment of truth. Okay, 1, 2, 3. How did I do this when I was a kid? I'm so scared right now. Okay, let's see. Yes. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. We're gonna finish it off with just a couple extra pecans on the top. Well, I think the only appropriate way to take a bite of this is just to pull a piece right off the top. It's like gooey and cinnamony and buttery. I don't think I need chapstick for the next year. Incredible.